Hi guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be doing my Sydney Swans vs Hawthorn Hawks AFL fantasy review from this week's game. So before we get into it, remember to like and subscribe as this channel's growing alright, and I would like to see some more growth after. I know these videos don't do the best, and we'll see more growth when I post my actual team reviews and stuff like that, and team previews, trades and other videos like these, but yeah, now we'll get into the video. So as you can see here, I've done the usual of, that should be better now. So I've done the usual, and now we get into the players. Callum Mills, he did really well, but he was one of those guys that you don't really notice until you look at the stat sheet, and he had 71 in the first half, and at one point he was on, I think, 80 or whatever, and then he had some things taken away. So he ended up 71 or so. But he just looked really good at the... he was one guy that you don't really notice, and he just sort of racked up the pills, such as... And I think if we look at here, and we go to Mills, we look at his stats, and you'll see he had, in the end, 28 touches, 6 marks, 3 tackles. So he didn't even have that many tackles, and he still was able to rack up a 109. So he's still going to drop a little bit in price, but I think we can pick him up soon around that around that 930, 920 price range. Gulden again did what Gulden does best, and just sort of, this is what we need out of him. 104. You take that as he's going to go. He went up in price. Let's see, what did he go up in price by? He went up in price by 21k, and Mills dropped by 16k. So Mills is at 950. So that was really good by Gulden. He finished it off late in the quarter by getting, 12, 16, 18 points late on in the game to really boost that up and get over the 100 mark, which is really, really good. Luke Parker just, again, doing what Luke Parker does best and somehow getting to 103 without even anyone noticing. If we go over here to Parker, and he's dropped a little bit in price, 852k. He's not someone that you want to necessarily bring in because he's going to go big, and gain value. He's not going to be a value pick, as in gain average on his previous year, but he's going to be very consistent around that 100 mark or so. Lloyd, I thought, was a little bit disappointing in the second half, but I guess the Swans knew the game was won, so it was just about, I guess, having fun at that point. So Lloyd did beat his average or his break even, but wasn't damaging enough, I guess. That's better. So yeah, he wasn't damaging enough in the second half, and then you have Joel Amadi, who it's pretty bad that they don't have a face scan for him. Who dominated the first and second quarter, and he ended up 4 goals too, and then did nothing in the second half and was taken off with no injury. Just, I think, don't want to make him tear a hamstring in the second half or calf injury, coming back from injury, so they just took him off when the game was won. Ollie Florent had a really good third quarter, and he looked really, really good and was breaking through the lines a lot, sort of taking the role that I thought, that Blakey sort of has in the team for this week, and he was really good this week. He had a really good third quarter as the Swans piled it on, and then sort of, I guess, when the Swans sort of backed it up a little bit in the last quarter, a lot of these players didn't do much. So that's understandable, as they won the game. They were up by 60, 70 points at that point. It was 110 to about 110 to 25 or something like that, and then they just let Hawthorn kick another goal or two. Logan McDonald, really good in the third quarter. Once the likes of Amadi had gone off, he sort of took up the mantle as the lead forward, and he ended up kicking, what did he end up kicking? 1, 2. He ended up kicking, I think, 5 goals, 1 maybe? 5 goals, 2, somewhere around that. He really does well, and I think one thing you can take from McDonald's performance, I think, if we look back at his round 1 performance, McDonald, he's averaging 70 so far. He's had a 56 and a 84. The one thing I like about McDonald is that he gets heavily involved in the marking game, so he gets a lot of marks out of out of it as well. So, and he's leading up the ground really well, and he's linking up the ground really well. So he's probably not fancy friendly at the moment, but if he had a little bit lower, if he was, what's he priced at? 460. If it was priced at like 380, I probably would have a stab at him over the likes of Bruin, just because he's better, I think, for fantasy at the moment. Will Hayward sort of he came alive when the Swans didn't really do anything scoring wise, but he was just pretty good today. Blakey again, pretty good second half for him, saving his awful first half looking at this, but it was just another guy that I saw just running through the lines, doing what the Swans wanted, as it basically all went their way. And then we go down to Heaney, who had a 0-point first quarter and somehow ended up 79. He had a really good second half. He had a massive lump on his forehead after a clash with, I think it was Worpel. So that sort of sucks for him, I guess, but he'll recover from that and he'll be fine. But yeah, it was just a really good performance from him. I was surprised how well Campbell did, considering he did it all in the first half and he was on 54 at half time. And I think this is what we can expect from him, especially because I think he can push 90, 95 once he gets his name on the team sheet regularly. Ladham's again showing why you probably have to go for those key ruckmen, especially because 12-point first quarter, and he's only got another 2 or 3 weeks, I think, before Hickey's back. So we're just going to see how he does. He has Grundy next week where he'll get absolutely dominated, so he's going to probably put up a 60 or so next week. Chad Warner just didn't have the game that I think that we'd want from him. I think he sort of knew that he'd cop a little bit of an attention, so he sort of phased himself out a little bit and just let the other guys do the work. And yeah, I guess it worked for Sydney, but not for anyone who has him fantasy-wise. McInerney, I thought, was actually really, really good today. It doesn't show on the stat sheet with a 61 fantasy, but he looked really, really good. 32-point last quarter, only 2 in the third, which isn't the best, but I thought he was actually really good on when they were able to switch it quickly and to, I guess, get it to him just to be able to run and bounce and actually kick it into the 50. So I guess he's one of those guys that's not really going to be fantasy friendly. Rampy back to what I thought Rampy would do, and I don't know how many people picked him up, but let's just see how many people have him. So he's at 2.6% owned. So for him to get a 61 is probably good for me. Saved me a little bit. And then you got Rowbottom here. Just not a good game for him. I think him and Warner realised that they needed to, I guess, take a little bit of a step back. He came alive in the third, which was good, but in the end just fell short, I guess, a little bit. He missed a couple of set shots, which wasn't the best. So probably could have made that into a 70. Stevens, they went through McInerney's wing quite a lot, and I think Campbell sort of snuffed Stevens' role a little bit, which is a little bit disappointing. And then the rest of the Swans have not too good scores, and I think McLean's going to be the one that drops out for Buddy. I don't think you can drop McDonald and Amadi after what they did. And then for the Hawks, you had Dylan Moore really come alive in the last quarter to kick up his score. Newcomb did what Newcomb does best, and then you have Day going again and putting on a huge score, especially in the second. It sort of fell away in the second half. Sicily fell away massively in the second half. He was on 63 at halftime and ended up 87, and he even was on 80 for most of the last quarter, so lucky to get that. Meek's an interesting one because I think he's the better of the ruckman, and they did end up subbing out Reeves just because Reeves was terrible. But I doubt that Mitchell goes solo ruck there, so I doubt that Meek gets the opportunity needed. Worpel did what Worpel needed to do, I guess. He gave away a couple free kicks here, which I think he ended up giving, 2 free kicks away only, so It's not bad, but that's the difference. If he gets a couple of handballs away there, that's a 10-point swing and he ends up 92 and making huge value. Impey, Amon doing what I thought Amon would end up doing. Ward, he looked good early on, but then sort of just didn't get back into the game. He had, 27 points after 22 minutes and then just didn't do anything for the rest of the game. McDonald just couldn't get into the game, and then you have a lot of these guys. Mackenzie had a rough day at the office as a rookie, so that's pretty tough. And then anyone else here? And then, as I said, Reeves got subbed out midway through the third, I think it was, as he just couldn't do anything, basically. He didn't look good as forward, or I don't even know if he played that much forward, but he didn't look good. And they brought on Butler, and he didn't do much as well. So, if I go back here, that's my review of the Swans vs Hawks game. This will be out probably Monday, I believe, and then the other reviews will be out Tuesday. I'll have my Cash Cows injury video and team review, team preview, and trade targets and tips out on the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we'll go from there, I guess, and try and rebuild my AFL fantasy season.